The Premier League, England's top football league, is known for its competitive nature, passionate fans, and world-class players. It's widely considered one of the most exciting leagues in the world, known for its fast-paced action and high-quality play. The league is also known and home to one of the most successful and historic clubs in European football, such as Manchester United, Liverpool FC, and Arsenal. Additionally, being broadcasted over 200 countries, making it one of the most widely watched leagues in the world. But as with any league, there are areas where improvement can be made. One of the key areas that the Premier League can improve upon is ensuring that the clubs are run for the benefit of the fans rather than for profit. This is where the 50+1 rule comes in. The 50+1 rule, currently in place in the Bundesliga, states that at least 51% of a club's voting rights must be owned by the club's members, also known as fans, rather than private investors or corporations. This means that the fans have the ultimate say in how their club is run, from the hiring and firing of coaches to the sale of players. This is important as it ensures that the club remains accountable to the fans and that the fans have a say in the direction of the club. The 50+1 rule was introduced in 1998 to prevent clubs from being taken over by wealthy investors and to ensure that the clubs remain true to their roots and closely tied to their local communities. The Bundesliga wanted to maintain a level of stability and prevent clubs from becoming dependent on the whims of wealthy owners. It was a way to protect the clubs from the financial instability and uncertainty that can come with having a single wealthy owner. Today, I'm going to talk about why this 50+1 rule could be a game changer and would be really important for the Premier League. Let's get right into it. Firstly, the rule would ensure that the clubs are run for the benefit of the fans rather than for profit. This would ensure that the clubs remain accountable to the fans who would have a say in the direction of the club. This is important as it would help to ensure that the clubs are not only focused on making money, but also on the fans' needs and interests. This would also promote a sense of community and belonging among fans, as they would have a stake in the club's future. The rule would also promote financial stability in the league. Many Premier League clubs have high levels of debt and financial instability, often as a result of overspending in an attempt to compete at the highest level. The 50+1 rule would help to prevent by ensuring that the clubs are financially stable and that they are not overly reliant on a single investor. This would ensure that the league remains competitive and that the clubs are not at risk of financial collapse. The 50+1 rule would also ensure that the league remains true to its roots and values. The Premier League is known for its passionate fans and sense of community. However, with the increasing involvement of foreign investors and billionaires, the league is becoming more focused on profits rather than a community and belonging. The 50+1 rule would help to ensure that the clubs stay connected to their local communities and that the fans have a stake in the club's future. Lastly, the rule would promote youth development and a pathway for young players to break into the first team. This would help to ensure that the league is able to produce new talents that can compete on the international stage, and it would also help to secure the future of the league. Now, some may argue that the 50+1 rule would limit the potential for clubs to bring in big-name players and compete at the highest level. However, the Bundesliga has proven that it is possible for clubs to be both successful on and off the field while also remaining financially stable. The league has a strong focus on youth development and has produced some of the world's best young players. Critics also argue that the 50+1 rule hinders clubs from getting the investment they need to compete at the highest level. They argue that without the financial backing of wealthy investors, clubs are at a disadvantage when it comes to signing top players and building world-class facilities. However, this argument fails to take into account that the 50+1 rule also helps to ensure that the clubs are financially stable, as they are not overly reliant on one single investor. This financial stability is important as it ensures that the clubs can compete on a level playing field and that the league remains competitive. Another important aspect of the 50+1 rule is that it helps to promote youth development in the league. The clubs are encouraged to invest in their youth academy and give young players a chance to break into the first team. This has led to the development of some of the world's best young players, such as Mesut Ozil, Toni Kroos, and Joshua Kimmich. The league's focus on youth development is reflected in the fact that many clubs have a high percentage of homegrown players in their squad. This also makes the league an attractive destination for young players from around the world. Many young players from other countries see the Bundesliga as a great opportunity to develop their skills and learn from some of the best coaches and players in the world. This is important as it ensures that the league is able to produce new talents that can compete on the international stage, and it helps to secure the future of the league by acquiring the best talents in the world. It's also worth noting that the league is willing to make exceptions to the rule in certain cases, such as when the club has a strong history of fan ownership or when a club has a strong financial backer who is committed to the long-term success of the club. This exception is in place to ensure that the rule does not harm the stability of a club that has a strong history of a fan ownership or a solid financial base. This exception is a way to balance the need for the financial stability and fan representation. It's important to note that the 50+1 rule is not a magic solution, but it is a step towards the right direction. The Premier League should consider implementing this rule as it would ensure ensure that the league remains competitive, financially stable, and true to its roots and values. It will also bring the fans back to the heart of the game and ensure that they have a say in the direction of the club. It's time for the Premier League to take a page from the Bundesliga book and implement the 50+1 rule. It's a step towards a better future for the league, the club, and the fans. So yeah, if you guys liked the video, please give a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.